In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. We are going to have such a great conversation today about the power of speaking, about the minimum wage of a speaker, about how to leverage your book and your materials into creating not just a speaking opportunity for yourself, but also for how you can build consulting, and also how your passion and your success can feed the another organization or another couple of organizations solving part of the problems in the world. And today, my guest is Orly Amor, and Orly is truly a powerhouse. She's a powerhouse entrepreneur, a powerhouse speaker, and a legacy builder who has founded 5 thriving companies and transformed the lives of over 200,000 people. And I'm sure she's just getting started. As a corporate trainer, international public speaker, and best-selling author, she's known for helping business owners triple and even quadruple their revenue with proven strategies. And what you will learn about Orly is no nonsense.
True that.
Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, Orly.
I'm super grateful for you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We met. I think we met through Phil Harrington originally,
Okay.
And then you and I had some time together, and I jumped on one of your speaker training webinars, which I found immensely helpful, and really it was great to get some of the fundamentals back in the conversation, because I think a lot of people are getting distracted by shiny things in marketing right now, or B, they're just not aware of them, right? We've kind of there's untrained and there's distracted. And what I loved about your processes was you're super clear and super precise. So that's why I invited you in here today.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Definitely public speaking is something I'm very passionate about. I've been doing it full time for 27 years. So yeah, I kind of know a couple of things.
And how did you get started in public speaking, of all things?
Well, I was in property management for a long time, for 25 years. And during that time, I thought I should speak to board of directors and property management companies, and they need to communicate better in order to run these properties better. And it came out of frustration, obviously, like most solutions come out of frustration.
Yeah.
I started speaking on property management all over the country. And one day, one of my girlfriends asked me to speak at a women's shelter. And I said, what do you want me to speak about? Property management? I thought that was silly. Right. She's like, no, I want you to come and tell your story. That's something that I probably avoided for 16 years, not to tell my story. I think many people who have a story that don't want to share it because of shame or guilt or whatever, not to be judged or scrutinized, right?
Sure.
And so I did not want to. But I ended up speaking at this shelter a few months later. And it's there that I met a woman that wanted to end her life. Mm-hmm. And after hearing me speak, she decided to live and wanted me to show her how.
Oh,
and that was my pivotal moment. That was when I realized, well, speaking is not just to show your strengths and your knowledge and showing that off. It was more about impacting people's lives. And that's where I decided, let's switch that around. Screw property management. Let's get into full-time public speaking. And it's been an amazing journey, that's for sure.
I love it. Well, and you're not just into public speaking, but you're into structuring it in a way that fulfills your lifestyle ambitions and your financial ambitions. So Talk a little bit about how you've built that system.
Absolutely. So, what is the best form of marketing? Usually, what people would say is word of mouth, but how is that working for you these days, right? And the second best way of marketing for any business is public speaking. It's the one to many, not one to one. It's education and edutainment combined in one in order to fulfill a need or solve a problem. And I did not know that people got paid to speak. That people did not get paid to speak. Let me rephrase that, because I was asked to speak in Arlington, Texas. Long story short, I met these three guys who were just standing there in the break room and asked me how I got the gig. And I said, well, I don't know. I called, I told them what I speak about. They paid me and I'm here. And they all looked at me like if I had three heads. You got paid? And I said, no, you guys didn't. It was a real revelation for me. And that was my pivotal moment about thinking, okay, maybe they don't know what they don't know. Right. And that's where I knew that I was getting paid. I was always getting paid. I didn't even know that people did not get paid. That's what I started with. And so I decided to create a program that guarantees they'll make 150K their first year in public speaking, or I work with them until they do. But it's minimum wage, really.
Yeah. And how many speakers have you trained in your system?
Oh, at least 400 minimum. I don't know. There's been quite a few speakers, but I spoke around the world. I've been to 31 countries so far in 20 states. I'm still working on it. Still want more.
All right. Well, break down for us a little bit about what your system is for how you find your speaking engagements.
Well, Google is your best friend. It's not like a big, wow, there's a big revelation of where you can get speaking gigs. It's not about the speaking gigs, it's how you approach them. Many people don't know how to approach an event planner. And when an event planner says, oh, sorry, we don't have any money, we don't pay speakers, they just take it as is and don't even try because they don't know the industry. And It's all about knowing your industry. And no matter what industry you're in, you know the ins and outs. You know how to talk to your clients. You know what your clients need, what problem you're solving. So first, make sure that you know that. Then you can speak to an event planner, because when they say they have no money, it's not true. They don't want to pay you. And that's a harder pill to swallow. When you hear other people getting paid, you're like thinking, hold on a second. What do you mean? They paid that person. Why didn't they have to pay me?
Right.
So about finding the events, it's very simple. It's about communication and how to position yourself. So that's my superpower, is to position you in this industry so that you are the go-to person for an event planner, not to have another choice, although there's many people that speak on the same topics, right?
Yeah. Well, how do you differentiate, say inside of leadership or inside of marketing? What's the differentiation process?
Well, it's the person, but most of all, it's their background story, right? Unfortunately, people tend to just go with what the trends are instead of going with who they are. Mm. And if you fundamentally understand who you are in the whole scheme of things, then it's easier to position you. I can take 10 speakers that speak about leadership, let's say, and position them differently, completely differently. Because what other speakers that speak about leadership, some of them just change it to soulful leadership, or or heart-centered leadership, or whatever the trend is. They just add that word to whatever they speak on and try to fit the square peg into a round hole, and it won't work. And they hit frustration and they feel failure, but it's not them. They just don't know how to do this business, really.
Yeah, right. So in that respect, the person's story is the product, and we got a brand around that kind of immutable part of the human versus trying to fit in part of the human.
Exactly. Absolutely. You got that right. Mm-hmm. You got that right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, go ahead.
Speakers are here to feed their ego or their pocket. I'm here about feeding their pocket because I have no ego. And people who speak for free because they want to get exposure, I say, go outside. The sun is going to give you plenty of exposure.
Oh, wow. So then how do you take that conversation? They say, well, we don't pay our speakers. And then how do you turn that with an event planner?
Well, the speaker, whoever they are, need to understand their own value.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is a value in this industry, and it's not Orly value, it's industry value. There's a lot of money in this industry. Right now, it's a $113.2 billion industry. And by 2026, it'll be a $118.9 billion industry worldwide.
It's pretty good size pie.
I think we have enough for everybody. But only 1% knows how to talk to an event planner. What differentiates you is knowing your own value. If you ask for too much, you don't know what you're doing. If you ask for too little, you don't know what you're doing.
Sure.
I wrote a book actually on it. It's called Public Speakers, You're Not All That, 12 Reasons Why Event Planners Won't Hire You. I interviewed over 3,400 event planners that actually pay speakers for this book. And I put it in such layman words that anybody reading it will understand that they don't know what they're doing. And that's the first thing that event planners are saying about it, speakers, because everybody wants to be a speaker. I mean, the big ones out there, you know, Tony Robbins, Steve Covey, all these guys, they've opened the doors for us.
Sure.
But now there's too many. Every morning somebody gets up, oh, I want to be a public speaker because they make money. Somebody once asked me, he's like, how much do you get paid? You know? And at the time, it was a long time ago, I said 10,000 a speech. And he said, oh my God, that's what I should be charging. And I said, that's great. But when was the last time you got paid $10,000 to speak?
Right.
And he said, oh, I never made $1. I said, let's start where you do fit in this industry.
All right.
So, because at a $10,000 speech, you got to know how to deliver that.
For sure. You still have to deliver value. You can't just get up there and tell stories about your childhood dog. Right.
Right. You can, as long as it fits into the messaging, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's good.
5 questions. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering. So, for somebody who maybe wants to get to start speaking, what do you say to that person?
Well, the first thing is the 5 questions I was just about to mention. So we're good. We're in good alignment here, Emmanuel. We're in good alignment. So the first question is, who are you? What do you know? Second question. What problem are you solving? Third question. How are you solving it? Fourth question. And fifth question is, why should I care? Why should the event planner care? And the reason is that a lot of people are inspirational and motivational, but that doesn't solve a problem.
Right.
It's good, but event planners are looking for the solution to a specific problem. So as a speaker, you need to ask yourself, what problem are you solving? What are you doing to solve it? And why should they listen to you instead of everybody else that talks like you?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. And so what problem do you bring a solution to in your speeches, Orly?
I bring my solution is how to increase the bottom line in any company. Uh-huh. I'm a certified behavior analyst, and I go into corporations and teach them how to close the deal 98% of the time through profiling, not through sales 101. I don't even know how to do that. But I know who I'm talking to, and I know how to analyze and assess their problem and how I can solve it within 3 seconds. So when I meet somebody, it's pretty easy for me to assess if they are in need or not, if I should move forward or not. Mm-hmm. Many salespeople just want to close the deal. So they're very motivated by the money. They need to be motivated and motivating of the client to want to buy, to want to say, oh, I want that. Oh, I need that. Whatever that is, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think you don't give yourself enough credit on the sales part, because I think you have the ability to you give a lot in advance. I noticed that from your webinar that you have a lot of resources and interesting pieces of material that you give away. So people can trial very quickly and easily. So that
Mhm.
was nice. That was a nice
It,
process.
it builds confidence because I mean I don't believe in keeping everything to myself. At the end of the day, we all end up in the same box. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like I need to sell myself. Some will, some won't. Who cares? Who's next? Kind of
Yeah.
mentality where you need to give people a chance to build their confidence of being able to do something, and then realize that they need more. If you
Yeah.
don't, then what are you doing? I mean, I'm here to serve, not to sell on a first basis, right?
Sure.
Like,
Yep.
do people do pay me? People do come to me, but that's not my first recourse. That's not my first conversation. It's okay. How can I support you? How can I help you thrive without selling you anything? And that's the power of networking as well. Your network is your net worth. If you don't make enough money, you don't know enough people, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so you got to know how to do all that. It's not just one thing, it's not just speaking. People just want to get on stage and think that it's easy. Lord, it's not easy, but it's totally worth it.
All right, good. So we got to answer 5 fundamental questions. Then we need some marketing materials. Do we need a website? What do we need if we're going to be a speaker?
So, as you know from my webinar, you don't need anything but yourself. And so, you need an hour a day that you dedicate to this business. You can have 10 other businesses, but 1 hour a day you have for this business. Getting out there, getting yourself known, people getting to know you. Yes, it's good to be on social media and having some social proof. Yes, it's good to go on podcasts and practice your message. Yes, it's all good, but how much time are you wasting on doing that instead of the activities that actually generate money?
Right. The high value activities. Yep.
Right. I remember learning before even the age of the internet. Yes, I'm dating myself. Um, before the age of the internet, I remember even using Lotus 123 before Excel. So when people say, "What was that?" It's something like Google Sheets, okay, but in a very, very basic way. And just knowing how to run a business, running it as a business, knowing that you will be wearing a few hats when you start off in a business. You're the salesperson, you're the marketing person, you're the PR person, the publicist, you're everything to your business. And so when people say, "I need a website," and I'm like, "Why?" Nobody knows who you are. What are you going to build a website for, right? If you have an email, you're pretty good. You're pretty well off right there, you know. Some people want to write a book, but if they didn't write it yet, then I would hold off on that. That's not what's going to get them more speaking gigs. Some people are paying thousands of dollars to get on a TEDx stage. It's wonderful. It's a credibility stage. I get it. The selling part of that is credibility. Oh, I have a TEDx talk, but that doesn't get you paid and it doesn't get you more gigs. A lot
Right.
of people are selling that. So when you were at my webinar, I named 20 things you don't need to have.
Right.
Literally do not need to have, and I'm full proof of it because I've made it without. And so when people are selling all that shiny object syndrome that people have, it's
Yep.
only about what they need externally in order to make the money in public speaking, where they have it all internally to get out there and do the thing that makes the money.
Right. Which is to answer the questions about who they are, what their talk is about, what problems they're solving, finding some event planners. How do we find event planners? Is there one big master list, or how do we do that?
No, as I'm teaching in my PGA, I'm going to tell you right here. You go on Google, you open a Google Chrome. Google Chrome is the best way. I think that's what impressed you also the most during my webinar, is that you know where it says Gmail on your right hand side and then images right next to it. You click on images. When you see Google Images, type in the word that you're looking for. If you're looking for, let's say, business conferences, then business is your word. If you're looking for addiction conferences, then addiction is your word. And whatever that word is, next to it, you put conferences without putting the year. And then you press enter. You're going to get a bunch of images. And those images represent multiple events, multiple conferences, because the other way, like me, most people ask me, well, why don't you just Google the events that the normal way, right? And I say, well, because a lot of events are going to show up, meetups and Eventbrites and things that are not conferences at all.
Yeah.
So I want to go to the conferences that are real, that actually have speakers. Especially when you see an article by Inc. magazine or something that says 11 most attended conferences in business conferences to attend, and you're like, oh, why would I want to do that? I don't want to attend a conference, I want to speak at the conference, right? Guess what? If they have speakers, they're hiring speakers, therefore
Right.
you want to go and find out their information. So you go to that conference and you look for contact us, which is usually an email. If you ever do get an email, get the email. If it's a form, abstract, or application, do not fill them out. Nobody's reading them. Unless you know who's reading them, do not fill those out. I'm gonna save you some serious time and money here.
Absolutely.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And just go ahead and find the email and then send an email. The email should be a one-sentence thing. Quick question. Who do you know who I can speak to in your company that hires speakers for your events? That's it. Really quick. And a lot of people say to me, really, that's it? I'm like, yeah, don't send a whole Megillah. Do you know what a Megillah is? It's actually a scroll in the Jewish religion that actually covers the whole planet.
Right.
And you don't want to send a long email, because as there was a survey done by the ABC of the most stressful jobs in America, Canada and the United States, 100 most stressful jobs. Number 1 was military jet fighter plane pilot. Number 2 was air traffic controller. Number 5 was event planner coordinator.
Oh, man.
So you got to understand who you're talking to. They're stressed out. It's a thankless job. They have so many balls to juggle in the air, and you're going to come in and send them this long thing that they don't have time to read.
Right.
Let them tell you who is the person in charge, and then you can contact that person. And by the way, guys, do not try to close the deal on that first email. You got to build a relationship. These are people, and sometimes they're not even looking for speakers. So you're contacting them at a bad time, and they won't even answer your email.
So I love your lead generation process. Here you go. You're going to find the conference, the correct keyword. You're going to find an email address, and you're going to start the top of the funnel sales process.
Mm-hmm.
And then through that, then you want to contact them 5 to 15 times, like you would any prospect, in order to establish your credibility and start to build a relationship.
Yeah, in order to close the deal, it takes about 7 to 12 times. And most speakers actually quit after a third contact.
Sure.
And the actual deal is made between the 7th and the 12th. So there's a big disparity there.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I know. 48% of speakers don't even respond to event planners.
Wow, that's the list I want. The outbound from the event planner.
48% don't even respond to the event planners when they need something, right?
Yeah.
That's because they don't have it together. And that's the big problem that's happening in the industry right now. There's a lot of people that want to speak, but they don't have their stuff in the right way. So a lot of people tell me, oh, I have my bio. Yeah, but not in the way they want to see it. Oh, I have my speaker sheet. Yeah, but not in the way they want to see it. So people are just copying each other and copying mistakes that are out there.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like using ChatGPT to write your
book
biography or your book. Right.
Right.
Well, it's great. You and I could spend the next 3 hours talking. I have no doubt about that.
I know.
Hopefully we'll be at a conference together speaking, and then you and I can have dinner together, and I would love to buy you dinner and pick your brain some more.
Yes.
But I did want to get to, why are you doing all this, and what is the big contribution you're making right now to the world?
I have a nonprofit. It's called youaremylight.org, LIGHT. We are building healing centers for rescued victims of human trafficking, sex, and labor slavery, so that we can give them back their God-given right to life, freedom, education, and autonomy. And the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is so that I can have more impact in the world and leave a legacy with the healing centers and helping humankind to be kind. and help each other.
Well, it's beautiful and it's God's work. And I appreciate that you're doing that. And I would like to help you support that how I can. So stay in touch with me on that, Orly.
Will do.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much. And
No, thank you.
I truly appreciate your time and your wisdom on the speaking part of things. And obviously, if people want to get your book or get in touch with you, tell us how to do that.
They can just go to meetorlyamor.com, MEET, orlyamor.com. And that would be the best way to contact me from there, to email me, to get on my calendar. Anything you like, they could do through there.
All right. Well, I appreciate your energy and your passion, and thank you for the inspiration on becoming a speaker that's making minimum wage.
Yeah. Well, minimum wage. That's not what we want.
No,
Thank you, Manuel.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Take care.
Okay. Thanks. Well, there you go. If you have some interest in becoming a speaker or helping somebody with their speaking career, I would recommend you getting Orly's book and that you get into action so that you too can make a big contribution to the world in something that you find important. Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again real soon.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.